Imagine finding a simple UK Elizabeth to new pence coin in your change, only to discover it's worth thousands, even millions of pounds. In this video, we're diving deep into the top 5 rarest and most valuable UK Elizabeth to new pence coins ever struck. From mysterious minting errors to coins that never meant to exist, each one tells a story of rarity, history, and unbelievable value. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in British numismatic history, a coin that shouldn't even exist, but rumors, minting secrets, and rare collector finds suggest otherwise. By the end of this video, you'll know why this 1975 era UK Elizabeth to new pence coin is one of the most valuable British coins ever, how to identify one, and what makes its errors worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds. The background. To understand the mystery behind the 1975 new pence coin, we need to go back to a time of huge change in British currency, the decimalisation era. Before 1971, Britain used the old pre-decimal system, 12 pence to a shilling, 20 shillings to a pound. It was a complex, centuries-old system, but everything changed on February 15, 1971 decimal day, when the UK officially adopted the decimal system we know today, 100 pence to 1 pound. The most valuable errors and varieties: wrong planchette error, £10,000 to £20,000, off-center strike, £5,000 to £50,000, mule error, £34,000 to £45,000, auction values and record-breaking sales. Now let's talk about what everyone wants to know: the value. Although officially no 1975 1p coins were released, similar error coins from surrounding years give us a sense of their possible worth. For example, new pence proof coin only struck for collectors can fetch £500 to £1,000 in top-grade condition. Mule or MIS struck decimal coins have sold for between £5,000 and £30,000, depending on error type. Rare no-date decimal errors from the mid-1970s have reached prices of £50,000 to £100,000 at auction. So if a genuine 19751 new pence error coin were ever authenticated, especially a mule or wrong planchette variety, experts estimate its auction value could range from £100,000 to over £1 million. Imagine a single small copper coin changing your financial life forever. How to identify a 1975 era new pence coin? Here's what you should look for if you ever come across a coin that could be part of this legendary minting mystery. Date check: the coin should clearly show the year 1975. If it's faint, use magnification to confirm. Metallic color and weight: compare it to a regular 1p coin, 3.56 grams. Any deviation could signal a wrong planchette. Design details: look closely at the lettering, rim, and portrait alignment. Off-center or double strikes are signs of an error. Edge: a smooth or MIS-formed edge could indicate a striking issue. Sound test: gently drop it on a hard surface. A different tone might mean a different metal composition. If you find anything unusual, do not clean the coin. Keep it in a protective holder and contact a professional grading service like NGC, PCGS, or the Royal Numismatic Society for authentication. Market demand: big money for small coins. In recent years, British error coins have skyrocketed in value. For example, a 1983 to new pence error sold for over £1,350. A 1971 mule penny fetched nearly £30,000. In this video, we're going to uncover the jaw-dropping truth behind the 1977 UK Elizabeth to new pence coin, a piece that shouldn't even exist in some forms, yet has turned up in whispers among collectors, auction houses, and coin experts. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot this rare coin, why it's worth a fortune, and what makes it one of the most valuable British coins ever produced. The background: to understand the mystery behind the 1977 Elizabeth II new pence coin, we need to rewind to one of the biggest changes in British currency history: decimalisation. In 1971, the United Kingdom switched from the old pre-decimal system with shillings and old pence to a simpler decimal system, 100 new pence to the pound. During this transition, the Royal Mint introduced coins with the inscription new pence. The most valuable errors and varieties: wrong planchette error, £5,000 to £50,000, double strike error, £1,000 to £20,000, die clash or mule error, £5,000 to £20,000. Auction sales price and values. You might be wondering, has anyone actually paid huge money for coins like this? The answer is a resounding yes. Let's look at a few examples from auction history. A 1971 new pence mule penny sold for nearly £30,000. A 1983 new pence error sold for £1,350, even though it was a fairly minor die carryover. Rare proof decimal coins from the 1970s have fetched £10,000 to £50,000 at high-end auctions. Now imagine the frenzy if a verified 1977 new pence mule error were to appear. Experts estimate that such a find could be worth £500,000 to £1.2 million, depending on its uniqueness and condition. That's not pocket change, that's life-changing money. How to identify a 1977 error coin if you're a coin collector or just love searching through old change. Here's what to look for when checking your coins. Check the date. It must clearly show 1977. Watch for any double stamping or faint extra numerals. Inspect the text. The legend new pence should be crisp. Any misalignment, missing letters, or doubling could indicate an error. Feel and weigh the coin. A normal 1977 1p weighs 3.56 grams. If your coin feels lighter, heavier, or thicker, it might be a wrong planchette strike. Check the edges. Misaligned rims, off-center images, or partial beading can point to striking issues. Examine the queen's portrait. Look for ghosting, faint secondary outlines, or unusual die marks. And most importantly, never clean the coin. Cleaning can drastically reduce its collector value. If you suspect you found a rare example, contact a professional grading service like NGC, PCGS, or the Royal Numismatic Society for authentication. Final thoughts. 1. To find the next big discovery, a 1977 new pence error coin worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds, go check your drawers, your piggy banks. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and rare coins from British history. The 1978 era UK Elizabeth II new pence coin, a coin that, at first glance, looks completely ordinary, but under the right circumstances, could turn out to be a life-changing discovery hiding in plain sight. Imagine checking your loose change one morning and spotting a small, worn 5p or 2p coin that looks completely ordinary, but what if I told you that one small detail could make it worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds? Let's rewind to the late 1970s. The UK was in a fascinating time of transition. Decimalisation had already changed the nation's coinage system earlier in the decade, and the Royal Mint was still refining its new decimal coins. In 1971, Britain moved from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the decimal format we use today. The older new pence design was created to help people adjust to the new currency system, with the word new serving as a reminder that this was the modern decimal coinage. Another fascinating variety is the double strike error, where the coin is struck twice by the press, creating a ghostly, doubled image of the Queen's portrait or the reverse design. On some examples, you can clearly see a second impression of the new pence lettering or part of the crown portcullis design, slightly offset from the original. These double-struck errors are extremely desirable, often fetching anywhere from £500 to £5,000, depending on condition and visibility of the mistake. But the most shocking and valuable of them all is the off-metal strike. These are coins that were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal planchette, perhaps one meant for a completely different denomination, or even another country's coin. Imagine a 1978 new pence struck on a copper planchette instead of cupronickel, or on an aluminum blank from a foreign issue. These mistakes are so rare that many are unique one-of-a-kind coins that have sold for upwards of £50,000 to £250,000 at major auctions. In some cases, experts believe off-metal 1978 strikes could even reach the £1 million mark if one were discovered in mint-state condition with proper certification. One of the most exciting discoveries in recent years was a 1978 new pence coin struck on a 10p blank, giving it a distinct silver color. When authenticated by the Royal Mint Museum, it sold for a staggering £70,000 to £1,000 at auction. Another 1978 5 new pence with a broad strike error, where the coin expanded beyond its normal rim, fetched over £10,000. And several double die obverse versions have traded privately for between £1,000 and £3,000, depending on grade. So, if you're checking your collection or pocket change, Weight if possible. A genuine to new pence should weigh 7.12 grams, and a 5 new pence 5.65 grams. Any significant deviation could signal a rare error or wrong metal. And always get it authenticated by a trusted grading service like NGC or PCGS before selling. Today, we're talking about one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and potentially valuable coins ever produced by the Royal Mint, the 1979-era UK Elizabeth to new pence coin. At first glance, it looks just like any other British coin from the late 1970s, but what if that very coin, the one you've been ignoring all these years, could actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds? Let's take a quick step back in time to set the stage. The year was 1979, a year of political change, a shifting economy, and a period of new beginnings for the United Kingdom. But within the walls of the Royal Mint, something far more subtle and far more valuable was taking place. The Royal Mint was still striking coins under the new pence design that had been introduced in 1971, during the Great Decimalisation of Britain's currency system. One of the most famous errors associated with 1979 is the mule error, when the wrong dies are paired together during striking. Imagine this, a 1979 new pence coin that has the reverse, but the obverse from these mismatched pairings are never meant to exist. But on the rare occasion that one escapes into circulation, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime find. Mule errors from other years have sold for tens of thousands of pounds, and experts believe a genuine 1979 mule coin in top-grade condition could reach £100,000 to £250,000, possibly more if it's verified and sold at auction. Then there's the double strike error, where a coin is struck twice, creating a ghosted or overlapping image. These are incredibly striking. To look at, you might see a doubled new pence inscription, or even a second faint outline of Queen Elizabeth's portrait. These coins are beautiful mistakes, each one unique. Depending on the clarity and condition, double strikes from 1979 can bring anywhere from £1,000 to £10,000, but wait, the story gets even more exciting. There are rumors and reports of off-metal strikes for the 1979 new pence coins. These are coins that were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal blank. For instance, a 2p coin struck on a bronze blank intended for a different denomination, or even on a foreign planchet. These are among the rarest and most valuable of all minting errors, with some off-metal British coins selling for £50,000, £100,000, or even over £1 million when authenticated and graded in mint condition. Imagine that, a coin worth just 2 pence when minted, turning into a six-figure treasure decades later. But by far, the holy grail of 1979 new pence errors is the off-metal mule, where the coin is struck on an entirely incorrect planchet, sometimes from another denomination or even another country. These are so rare that only a few have ever been confirmed, and their values continue to rise with every passing year. A well-documented 1979 2p mule on a 10p planchet could easily command £150,000 or more today, especially if verified by the Royal Mint or a top-tier grading company. The 1980-era UK Elizabeth to new pence coin has been writing for collectors across Britain. It looks just like the others, but something feels different. You flip it over, take a closer look, and realize you could be holding a coin worth not just a few pence, but hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds. So stay with me till the end of this video, because what you're about to hear might make you rush to check every coin you own. Let's step back to the year 1980, a fascinating time in British history. Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister. The economy was shifting rapidly, and the Royal Mint was busy producing millions of coins for circulation. Among these, the familiar new pence designs were still being used, a holdover from the 1971 decimalisation, when Britain transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the modern decimal currency we know today. The first and most famous type of error associated with the 1980 new pence series is the mule error. This happens when the wrong obverse and reverse dies are paired together during minting. For example, a 1980 new pence coin could accidentally be struck using an obverse die intended for a later pence issue, or even a die from a different denomination. These mismatched coins are never meant to exist, which makes them incredibly valuable. In other words, If you ever come across a 1980 new pence coin with the wrong design combination, you could be looking at a coin worth £50,000 to £250,000, or potentially 7 figures, if verified, and in pristine, uncirculated condition. Another incredible variety is the off-metal strike. This happens when a coin is struck on the wrong type of metal blank. For instance, a 2 pence coin struck on a copper-nickel blank meant for 2 pence struck on an aluminum planchet meant for a foreign coin. These mistakes are exceedingly rare because the Royal Mint takes great care in sorting blanks, but accidents do happen. Some known off-metal errors from the late 1970s and early 1980s have sold for £75,000 to £150,000. And experts believe that if a genuine 1980 example were to surface in mint condition, it could surpass £500,000 or even £1 million at auction. Then we have the double strike error, where the coin is struck twice by the die. This creates a ghostly or overlapping image. Sometimes the Queen's portrait appears doubled, or the new pence lettering looks like it's been shadowed. These errors are incredibly eye-catching, and collectors love them because no two are ever identical. Depending on how visible the doubling is, a 1980 new pence double strike could sell for anywhere from £1,000 to £10,000, but perhaps the most mysterious and fascinating type of all is the planchet clip error, where part of the coin's edge is missing, creating a curved blank section. These occur when a metal blank overlaps another during cutting. For 1980, a genuine clipped new pence coin in good condition could be worth £1,000 to £5,000, depending.